It was an ordinary Tuesday, or so it seemed. The CEO of one of the most prestigious firms in the city, Maya Richards, had just landed back in town after a hectic week of international meetings. Nothing could have prepared her for the scene she would walk into when she unexpectedly arrived at the office an hour before her usual time. Little did she know, the janitor, Samuel, a man she had barely noticed before, would change the trajectory of her day, and perhaps her entire life. The events that followed would leave her questioning everything she had known about kindness, humility, and the hidden depths of the human spirit. Maya Richards was known for her sharp mind and impeccable management skills. A self-made millionaire, she built her company from the ground up, driven by an ambition that left little room for distractions. To her, business was a battlefield where only the strong survived, and only those who could weather the storms of ambition and competition could thrive. People came and went, but their positions were fleeting compared to the solidity of her empire. She had seen it all, or so she thought. That fateful Tuesday, after a long flight back from Europe, Maya decided to visit her office early to catch up on some paperwork before the day's meetings. She didn't call ahead, she didn't inform anyone of her arrival. She preferred to surprise her employees, see them working hard, and ensure everything was running smoothly. When she walked through the doors of the building, she was greeted with the usual hum of office chatter, the clicking of keyboards, and the low murmur of executives discussing projects. But something felt off that morning. As she passed the rows of cubicles, Maya's eyes landed on a janitor who was not his usual self. Samuel, the janitor, had been working at the company for years, quietly cleaning floors and taking out the trash, a shadow in the corner of every office. He was the kind of man who never asked for attention, and in the chaos of a high-powered office, nobody paid much attention to him. Maya had walked past him countless times, never bothering to greet him or acknowledge his existence. He was simply part of the background noise, like the scent of fresh coffee brewing in the break room. But today, Samuel was sitting on the floor, his hands shaking as he wiped the baseboards near a conference room. His movements were slow and deliberate, as though he were in some kind of trance. Maya paused, her gaze lingering on him. She felt a strange sense of unease, as if something was about to unfold, something she wasn't prepared for. She stepped closer, her heels clicking loudly on the polished floors. Samuel didn't hear her approach. She cleared her throat, and his head snapped up, his eyes wide with surprise. "Samuel," Maya said, her voice cold and businesslike. "Is everything all right?" For a moment, Samuel didn't respond. His eyes darted around the room, as if he were searching for something. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he replied, "I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't expect you to be here this early." I was just thinking." Maya crossed her arms, the faintest trace of annoyance in her expression. "Thinking? About what, exactly? Shouldn't you be focused on your work?" Samuel seemed to hesitate, and then he spoke, his voice thick with emotion. "I was thinking about my son, ma'am. He's in the hospital, and I don't know if he's going to make it." Maya blinked, stunned by the revelation. She had never known Samuel had a family. She had always assumed he was just a solitary figure, living a quiet life outside the office. But here, in the stillness of the early morning, he was pouring his heart out. "Why didn't you say anything?" Maya asked, her voice softening. "Why aren't you with him?" Samuel wiped his eyes with the back of his hand, his face contorting in pain. "I didn't want to bother anyone. I didn't want to seem weak. But I'm here, working, because I don't know how to face my son without having something to show for myself. I've been working all these years, just to make sure he has a future, and now I don't know if I'll be able to give it to him." Maya's mind raced. She had spent years building her company, pouring all her time and energy into a world that felt cold and transactional. The world she had created was a world where ambition ruled, where people were just pieces on a chessboard. But here, in front of her, was a man who had built his life around something far more precious, his son, his family, his love. Maya knelt down beside Samuel, her professional demeanor slipping away. For the first time, she saw him as more than just a janitor, she saw him as a father, a man struggling with the weight of the world on his shoulders. "Samuel, you don't have to carry this burden alone," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You matter more than you realize." Samuel looked up at her, his eyes filled with uncertainty. "But I'm just a janitor, ma'am. I'm just here to clean the floors and take out the trash." Maya shook her head. "No, Samuel. You are so much more than that. You've been here, quietly doing your job, but you've been carrying a weight far greater than anything this company will ever ask of you. And now, I'm going to help you." With those words, Maya stood up and walked to her office. She made a call to the hospital, ensuring that Samuel's son received the best possible care. She arranged for Samuel to take time off, giving him the space he needed to be with his son. She also set up a fund to cover the medical bills, removing the financial strain from Samuel's shoulders. Later that day, as Maya left the office, she reflected on what had just happened. She had always believed that success was about power, control, and results. But in that moment, she realized that true success was about something much more profound. It was about empathy, kindness, and the willingness to lift someone up when they needed it most. Sometimes, the most unexpected moments can change our lives. Take a moment today to show kindness to someone around you. Whether it's a colleague, a friend, or even a stranger, your act of kindness could be the light they need in their darkest moment. Don't wait for the perfect time, be the difference in someone's life right now.